Tommy Robinson criticises UK political establishment how Keir Starmer's Labour is responding. In the rapidly evolving world of UK politics, outsider voices continue to shape the national conversation, and this week, one of the most controversial among them, Tommy Robinson, re-entered the spotlight. In a recent public statement, Robinson sharply criticised the UK political establishment, directing some of his comments toward the Labour Party and its leader, Sir Keir Starmer. While Robinson remains a deeply polarising figure, his comments have ignited discussions online about freedom of speech, cultural identity, and whether mainstream political parties, including Labour, are truly engaging with the concerns of the broader public. Today, we take a closer look at what Robinson said, how it relates to Starmer's leadership, and what this moment reveals about the deepening political divide in the UK. Tommy Robinson, a well-known political activist and former leader of the English Defence League, has a long history of controversial statements and public demonstrations. Though deplatformed from many mainstream outlets, his content still reaches a significant online audience, particularly on alternative platforms. In his latest video, Robinson criticized what he describes as the disconnect between political leaders and everyday British citizens. He pointed to issues such as immigration, free speech, and what he characterizes as cultural erosion, arguing that politicians from across the political spectrum, including Starmer, have failed to represent the concerns of the working class. While many of his views are divisive and widely challenged, especially by civil rights groups, the attention his message receives speaks to a growing frustration among some voters who feel unheard in mainstream politics. Sir Keir Starmer has worked hard to rebrand Labour as a serious, centre-ground party capable of governing. His strategy has largely focused on stability, economic reform, and avoiding the controversies that derailed his predecessor's leadership. However, as voices like Robinson's gain traction in online spaces, Labour is facing increasing pressure to respond more clearly to concerns around national identity, border control, and crime, even when those issues are raised by figures far outside the political mainstream. So far, Labour has maintained a careful distance from such commentary. In public addresses, Starmer and his team have emphasized policy over rhetoric, choosing not to directly engage with controversial critics. This approach is designed to prevent legitimizing fringe narratives while keeping the party's messaging focused on core voter issues like the NHS, the cost of living, and education. Yet the strategy is not without risk. If Labour appears to ignore emotional, grassroots concerns even when they come from outside the political norm, it could leave space for populist narratives to grow. Online reactions to Robinson's critique have been sharply divided. Supporters argue that he raises uncomfortable truths that mainstream parties are too afraid to confront. Critics, however, see his views as inflammatory and potentially harmful to social cohesion. What's notable is that these debates are no longer confined to fringe websites, they are spilling into wider public forums. Social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble are full of conversations about whether UK politics is out of touch with real-world concerns. This puts parties like Labour in a delicate position. How can they address the root of these frustrations without echoing or appearing to validate divisive rhetoric? What this episode reveals is something deeper than a dispute between political figures. It's about trust, representation, and emotional resonance in modern politics. While Keir Starmer leads a disciplined campaign focused on institutional reform and policy credibility, many people want to feel heard, not just governed. Figures like Robinson, for better or worse, connect with segments of the population by speaking in raw, unfiltered ways about issues people feel are ignored. This doesn't mean mainstream parties should mirror this style, but it does mean they must engage more meaningfully with emotional undercurrents in British society. Ignoring them outright risks alienating voters who might otherwise be open to Labour's message. As the general election approaches, expect these tensions to increase. Starmer must walk a fine line, staying above provocative commentary while addressing the very real concerns that give those voices oxygen. The question is not whether Labour agrees with outside critics, but whether it understands why some of them are gaining attention. In the end, winning an election isn't just about policies, it's about connection. What do you think? Should Labour respond more directly to criticism from outside the political mainstream, or stay focused on policy? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this coverage valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We're here to keep the conversation factual, respectful, and engaging.